Okay, so this is a video response to a video response I got on my Resident Evil 5 video. I'll post a link there, and then I'll post the response link right there, and you guys can check those out whenever you want. Cobraredx is the person I'm responding to here, and the video was long, so I had to make some notes here on times because I want to make some exact references, so I want to make this quick. I'm going to start off with this. At the 4:25 mark, it's 4-minute 25-second mark, you talk about black leading characters in games, and you said, if I can name 10, you're, quote, wrong for posting your video. Well, I'm going to use annotations for this one because I'm not going to rattle them all off. So here they are. There's 10. And just for good measure, I'm going to give you 10 more. And just to be a smart ass, I'm going to give you another 5. There's 25 titles. And I'm going to throw in one more, a 26th title. And it's going to be the very game we're talking about, Resident Evil 5, which has been revealed to have a black leading character, the lovely African-born Sheva Alomar, who is 100% playable from beginning to end in Resident Evil 5. She's an integral part of the story and shares the spotlight 50-50 with Chris Redfield. So, now on to other issues. Not that it matters, because that response negated your entire video. Where it takes place. You make it a point of making it sound like I'm a bad person for not knowing where Resident Evil 5 took place. But the fact is, when I made that video, no one knew where the game took place. That was information that had not been released, and there were only rumors. So I was actually guessing locations based on speculation, and I didn't think I should dwell on it. So, yeah. At the 4-minute mark, you say that I said you play as a black guy and shoot white zombies in Resident Evil 2. I never said that. At no point in Resident Evil 2 do you play as a black character. At the 4-minute 53-second mark, you said that I said that Resident Evil 4 was racist. I never said that. I said if you think Resident Evil 5 is racist, then you should think Resident Evil 4 is racist. I was drawing parallels. In your video, at the 1-minute 25 mark, you're basically saying that it's okay to popularize and perpetuate black stereotype if it's cool. So I'm just going to say now that I don't think the popularization of the pop ghetto culture in America through negative imagery is cool at all, no matter how you put it. And I want to leave it at that. Africa being poor, yeah, has nothing at all to do with my video. I won't talk about it. But at the 1-minute 50-second mark, you said that I said not to bring up that subject. That was a quote. Not to bring up that subject. I never said that. Of course it's true, but it's irrelevant to this topic. If it were relevant, I'd have brought up the diamond trade, which you forgot to mention in your list of things wrong with Africa. So, moving on. You keep saying that it only takes one person to make something bad. All through your video you say that. But the fact is, it takes a group of people to truly make an issue of it. And the people who call Resident Evil 5 racist are just as bad as those who do something because they think a video game made it okay. At the 2-minute 50-second mark, you bring up violent acts caused by kids who play video games. And you say it again, it only takes one stupid person or one ignorant person. But that holds true for anything. One ignorant person could be set off by anything. A game is hardly the issue when you consider the potential stupidity of a person who's willing to commit a heinous crime as an act of mimicry. It only takes one stupid person to do anything, but if we decided to live in fear of stupid people, the entire world would grind to a screeching halt this very second, and it would never move again. The stupid are all around us. We gotta move on. Using the games cause violence claim, or subscribing to the idea that video games train people to hurt others for any reason is ridiculous. The fact is, if you truly believe that, then you should consider any violent video game wrong. Not just the ones that you think are racist. That is, unless you think that violence towards one group of people is okay and not the other. Is that what you think? I'm led to believe that. You say that it's up to black people to decide whether Resident Evil 5 is racist, not anyone else. And at the 6-minute 55-second mark, you say, and I quote verbatim, you get to go around shooting white people and Spanish people, women, and stuff like that. Who cares? Nobody cares. The double standard there is amazing. At the 5-minute, 15-second mark, you ask, why Africa? I ask, why not? The first 3 Resident Evil games took place in the fictional Midwest American town of Raccoon City. So did Resident Evil Outbreak and Outbreak File 2. So did Resident Evil Survivor. That's 6 games in America. So they move things. Games since then take place in Paris, Antarctica, Europe. Resident Evil Gaiden and Dead Aim both took place on ocean liners. They take place all over the world, so why not Africa? Do we call it bad just to satisfy those who would claim it's racist for no good reason other than the fact that it happens there and Chris Redfield is white? At the 6-minute, 5-second mark, you say, I have to understand your culture's standpoint. I guess based on that, I should see why it's racist. But if I did that, I would be calling Grand Theft Auto San Andreas racist in any other game that has black people killing white people. But I don't think that. I can see that it's just a game. It has no malicious intent, and that's my point with this whole thing. How can anyone call one thing racist and not the other, when in fact, neither should be considered such? At the 7-minute, 45-second mark, you say you're willing to bet that at some point someone will shoot a black person and blame Resident Evil 5. I'll take that bet. Because shooting a person in real life and killing a genetically altered monster in a survival horror game are so completely different, I can't imagine anyone trying to use that game as a scapegoat for their own stupidity. At least with Grand Theft Auto, they can compare the game with reality in some ways. People do stupid things all the time. That doesn't mean the game is a good reason to do it. It doesn't mean it wouldn't have happened if they never played the game. It just means they were idiots, probably brought up wrong. You keep going back to Grand Theft Auto and violent acts committed by kids who played it, like the case of Cody Posey, who killed his father, his stepmother, and his stepsister. And when that happened, the press, all they could talk about was how he was addicted to Grand Theft Auto 3, when in fact, what he did was probably a lot more related with the fact that his family life was terrible. As a kid, he spent the whole beginning of his life unhappy with his unhappy parents, then several years after that involved in a custody battle between his parents. Then a year and a half after his mother won the custody battle, his mother died in a car accident and he was forced to live with his father, where he was subject to mental, physical, and sexual abuse on a daily basis. Eventually, he picked up a gun and he went on a shooting spree. More often than not, it's got less to do with the game than it does the person's upbringing. That kid was going to snap with or without Grand Theft Auto. If you want to blame games for any kind of violence, racial or otherwise, then you should study child psychology. Read up on the actual studies done on video games and violence, most of which have proven there's no connection. Then you may find that you'll start shooting videos more about proper parenting rather than worrying about whether Resident Evil 5 or any other game is causing violence. After all, to make a difference, it only takes one intelligent person. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. So, that's my response.